this morning. All right. Sunday morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just going to sit here and relax a few minutes, enjoy my coffee, and get situated as I give you time to come on. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning. Getting my little self organized here. Hope your morning's off to a great start. That Cheryl? I think that's on, right? Cheryl on Instagram? I think that's you. Getting to know the names now. Janice is on. Carolyn's on. Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good to see you. Good to be seen this morning. Happy Sunday morning. Yes, it is a good morning. You notice I'm sitting at my kitchen counter. We'll talk about that in a minute. Still here, yeah. Hope your morning's off to a great start so far. Good morning, Cheryl. Yes, she's on Instagram. I have Janice, Carolyn, and Judy so far, and Angela on the Facebook group. Stephanie, good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good to see you. Good to be seen. I am so excited this morning. Grateful for another opportunity to join you, and thankful to you for getting up and joining me. I'm going to take this light out of my eyes just a little bit. I'm at my kitchen, in the kitchen, and I brought a light in so that I could, so you'd be able to see me, and it's like right in my eyes, and a little too early in the morning to have the light directly in my eyes. So good morning. As you come on, say good morning so that I will know that you are there. It is You Have the Power time. Notice it's no longer coffee talk, but as You Have the Power. Sherelle, good morning. Good to see you, ladies. It is so good to see you. Thank you. You know, I appreciate you getting up on Sunday mornings and joining me. And yes, I am sitting here at my kitchen table versus the studio, and I will tell you about that. But I had to come to terms with some things that I had been pushing and fighting against in my own spirit. So yesterday, I just made the decision. Milan is on. Good morning. Again, it's so good to see you, ladies, and I appreciate you getting up and joining me on Sunday mornings. Happy Sunday morning. I have coffee. What are you drinking this morning? Do you have coffee, tea, juice? Are you still in bed? You just took your phone out this morning, you're lying in bed, and you haven't decided to get up and start moving around as of yet. What are you doing? What are you drinking? What is going on? Whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoying your morning so far. So again, as you come on, either give me a wave, say good morning so that I'll know that you're there, so that I can give you a shout out. Calling out your name is one of the best part of getting up and for the You Have the Power group. So I get to chance a little bit to interact. Sherelle is drinking mimosa. Okay, I love that. And then good morning, good to see you. Milan says she's still in bed. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that today too. I'm going to rest up a little bit, although I do have some work to do. I was out and about all day yesterday. Hey, I went to see the play, August Wilson play. If you're in Chicago, it was at the Goodman. My friends and I, it's called The Gem of the Ocean. I'm advertising his play now, so if you get a chance to see it, go see it. But I would highly recommend, if you're like me, catch it Saturday afternoon, because it's like a 3-hour play. But there is an intermission, but it wasn't as bad because we went at 2 o'clock yesterday. So I would recommend it if you're looking for something to do. Go out and see it. It was a great play. So again, as you come on, say good morning so that I will know that you're there. Tell me, what are you drinking? What are you up to today? What is going on? Yes, let me know what's going on with you. I'm going to watch some football today and do a little work. So if you're on Instagram, because I'm on 2 platforms this morning, I'm on Instagram and I'm also live in the Facebook group. So wherever you are, say good morning to me. Let me know what's going on. So let's see what we got here. I got a request over here somewhere. Go live. Okay. You want to be in the video this morning? Is that it, Cheryl? I'm not sure if that's what you intended to press. you can let me know, but that's what's um, asking me. Good morning, Megan. Thanks for joining me this morning. All right. So, ladies, happy Sunday morning. This is the last Sunday in July. I'm sorry, in January. We made it through January. It is, it'll be February in what? Our first on Tuesday. So we made it through the cold. For those of you who, in these states that are cold, but now it's cold everywhere. Even some of the southern states it's cold and they have snow, but we made it through. So I am going to go ahead and get started because I'm rambling a little bit this morning just to give folks time to come on. But yes, I am sitting here at my kitchen counter. Remember last week I said I was going to be back in the radio station. Well, I started this year off, and what I wanted to be able to do is to be more impactful, to be able to help more women, to reach more women. And I thought doing a radio show, I would be able to do that. So I signed up to broadcast on the radio on Sunday mornings at 7:30. And it was okay. In all honesty, it was okay, but it really didn't resonate with my spirit, and I was kind of pushing against my spirit. So, we had the first couple of weeks we went, and Vaughn went with me the very first week. Thank you, because your friends will hang with you. And then I went the second week, and the third week I couldn't get in, so I did the broadcast from the car, and last week it was snowing. But each Sunday I was fighting against my spirit. So it wasn't resonating with me at this time. So I just pulled the plug yesterday, and I said, you know what? Let's not do it at this time. It doesn't mean I won't do it, but I decided not to do it at this time. But I had a couple of life lessons that I learned, number one. And because I wanted to be more impactful and to reach more women, to be more effective, but it doesn't mean I can't do it in this group. So in my mind, I'm thinking I need another platform, and maybe I need to work the platforms that I already have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end, something that I'm thinking about doing, and maybe you can help me decide whether or not I should do it. But maybe I'll drop the hint now and then I'll revisit it at the end. Don't let me forget at the end, because I will. Because what I was thinking about doing, maybe instead of trying to add on another platform, maybe I should try to be more interactive in this group. But what we could do, maybe start a support group, like say for instance, the fourth Monday of every month, but not do it in Facebook, do it on another platform where it could be interactive. Let me know what you think about that, because that's something that's in my head. How do I be more effective using the platform or the groups that I already have versus trying to reach more people within Instagram and Facebook and be more effective? So that's my thought. You can tell me what you think. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I had a great week. Number one, I had the opportunity to listen to Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins was doing some virtual training all week, and I participated in the training. I listened, and I took notes, and I'm going to share the notes with you. And you know who Tony Robbins is. He's the coach, the philanthropist, the guru that, has 40 plus years of experience, helping people live their best life. So, or live the life they want, or helping people with whatever challenges that they may have that, they're trying to overcome. And I took lots of notes. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am going to share the notes that I took. Now, the training started, it was from Tuesday through Saturday. Every day. It was supposed to be 90 minutes of training, but it actually lasted about 3 hours. So a lot of the stuff I already knew, but what was interesting for me is that I was on the receiving line. I was listening, so I was hearing some things that I already knew, but all of a sudden I was hearing them, and maybe it was time for me to hear them, because a lot of the things that I talk about, it's nothing new, but maybe it's that time, right at that moment, you needed to hear it, so it resonated with you. So I'm going to share my notes that I took from Tony Robbins, and I've had an amazing week because I had some aha moments of things that I've been telling myself all my life. And guess what? Whatever you tell yourself, whatever your story is, that's what you see. So here we go. I'm going to share my notes with you. Now, I take lots of notes. Again, the training was from Tuesday through Saturday. I didn't listen to the training yesterday because I went to the play, but I am going to listen to the replay. And so I'm just going to share some of the notes because I took about 15 pages of notes. I take a lot of notes. That's how I listen. So here we go. Last week we talked about take hold of your future. In all of January, we talked about beginning anew, new beginnings in 2022. Tony's message for this week was breakthrough in 2022. And a lot of it is similar, but I just want to share it with you. So, again, last week we talked about take hold of your future. And one of the things that Tony started out saying is your philosophy on life affects what you think and feel. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. And you have to learn how to master two worlds. There's the external world, things you can't control, but can influence. And there's the internal world, things you can't control, what you do, what you feel. So you change the way your mind and brain respond to things. Okay? So there's a power of patterns. She talked about that. So 45 to 55% of what we do is habit. And if you do something enough time, it becomes automatic. He said there are no broken people, we know that, just habits that don't serve you. And then he spent some time talking about understanding the power of patterns. And again, we know this, but to hear it is something different. For me, anyway. So most of what we do is habitual. And the problem with habit is that it stays with you. Let me close my mail so we don't get these clicks. Okay. There you go. So the problem with habits is that it stays with you. And so if you understand the patterns, there are no broken people, just habits. So let's talk about the patterns, the way you shift your thinking. You have to master these three things. Pattern recognition is a skill to teach yourself or your kids. Pattern utilization, how do I use it to get better results? And pattern creation. So you can use patterns, right? Pattern recognition is a skill to teach yourself or your kids. Pattern utilization, how do I use it to get better results? And pattern creation, become the creator of your life. Now, it's funny because all week long, there were certain things I have been telling myself, and all of a sudden it clicked. Eva, that's a pattern. You've been telling yourself this for the longest time. It's a pattern, and I'm going to talk about how it impacted me a little bit later. But if you recognize these patterns, you can change anything. It's all about these three things. If you want to change your life, you have to change your patterns. Pattern recognition, being able to recognize the patterns, not saying something is wrong with you, but you have a pattern. And that's what I was doing. I was saying, you know what? There are a couple of areas of my life I've been saying for the longest, I have a problem or I have difficulty in this area. That's a pattern. I've been telling myself that, and I found myself telling myself that again this week. So the light bulb went off. Eva, it's a pattern. Being able to recognize patterns, not saying something is wrong with you, but you have a pattern. So I was telling myself, Eva, you have a difficult time with this, saying, okay, maybe something's wrong with me, but it was just the pattern. And pattern utilization, I know the pattern. Now, how do I get better results? So there's one particular area, and now I know that it's a pattern. And then pattern creation, become the creator of your life, from someone who managed their circumstances to managing their life. So that's one thing he talked about, and that really resonated with me. If you want to change your life, you have to change your patterns. Pattern recognition, utilization, and creation. Now, one of the things that he spent a lot of time talking about this, Tony Robbins, if you've ever listened to him, he's high energy, high impact, high energy. And that's what he talked about. You have to be able to manage your energy, your state of mind. If you want to change, you have to be able to manage your energy. The higher the energy in the body, the greater the mind and heart and soul works. And that's why some people get up in the morning and they start their mornings off working out, because it raises the level of energy. And he said energy is the single most important ingredient to a quality life. If you're low energy, because we spent, again, 5 days with him. So if you're low energy, he was saying chances are you're not going to apply what you're learning from him this week. But if you increase the level of energy in your body, you stimulate yourself. And it's all about the energy. Without energy, it doesn't get executed. You get frustrated or exhausted. So you're right. You can learn something, but if you don't have the energy to implement it, then you're going to stay status quo. So it's all about the energy. So it's almost like you have to shock your body and your mind, and you do that through movement exercises. Like he gets up in the morning and he starts his day off jumping in this whole cold ice tub or something like that. Now, I don't do that, but I know when I exercise, and which is one of the reasons I like to jog, it gives me energy. And when I come home after exercise and I have the energy to do whatever it is that I want to do. And again, he said energy is the single most important thing to a quality of life. Now, I'm sharing my notes with you. It doesn't mean you have to believe it. Test it out for yourself. So you think about it this way, and I thought it was a great example. How do you measure your level of energy? So on a scale of 1 to 5, and 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, think about it if you're a 5. Then he went on to say, would you want to date someone that's a 5? So someone who had an energy level of 5, would you want to date them? Do you want to do business with someone that had an energy level of 5? Think about this. If I came on Sunday morning and I'm sitting here, low energy, and I'm like this, would you listen to me? Would you get up in the morning on Sunday mornings and listen to me? But because I have a little energy, you're like, yeah, I can follow her. But think about it. If I sat here even for the next 10 minutes and shared my notes with you, low energy, you would probably tune out, right? You would probably tune out. So he talked about energy. And we become like the people that we're around. So if you are around low energy people, then chances are your energy will be low. He said, without energy, nothing changes. So if you don't have the energy to make changes in your life, chances are nothing's going to change. Energy is the single most important ingredient for a quality of life. And you can manage your energy. Remember, the higher the energy in the body, the greater the mind, heart, and soul works. And you know that. For some of you who get up, you work out, you dance, or whatever it is that you have going on, you roller skate, or whatever it is that you're using or doing to filter, to raise the level of energy in your body. When you have high energy, chances are you're going to do more. And without energy, nothing happens. Because if you don't have the energy, you're going to sit around probably in front of the TV, and you're probably not going to do much. And he said, with strong physical energy and the right strategy, we can turn anything around. So the first thing is the state of mind, raising your level of energy. And it could be like, even if you're sitting and working all day, getting up for 10, 15 minutes, putting some music on and just dancing to get the heart pumping. Or if you're sitting in your chair, just take a few minutes, put something on, even if you have to groove in your head, put that song on, raise your level of energy. I thought that was interesting, but it resonated with me. Because I know when I jog, I get clarity, number one, and it gives me energy. And he went on to say, where does energy come from? It's not food. Food is a source of energy, but not the but it's food can't take away, but food can lower your energy. Because if you overeat, then chances are your energy is going to go down. It's not sleep. He said it's physical. It's a habit. And most of us don't have that habit. And when you're in a peak state of mind, anything is possible. So when your energy is high, anything is possible. When your energy is high, you believe you can do anything. When your energy is low, first of all, when your energy is low, you don't even have the energy to even think about the possibilities of what you could do. So you change your mind and body together, and anything can happen. So think about that. And how many of you, when you think about it, agree? When your energy is high, your performance is higher. When your energy is low, your performance is low. And then think about, I love this one. How many of you would want to date someone that's low energy or do business with someone that's low energy? I'm going to take to see if I'm getting some comments here. Now, I don't know if this resonated with me. Pam says, yes, walking gives me energy. And Sherelle wrote, I love it because this is my cousin, but when you change the pattern, when it becomes to the kids, can be upsetting, and then you start backing over again. Hey, Ubon, good morning. But that's it, energy. So I thought that was so powerful. So of course this week I've been sitting here working then, and the way Tony did the training, again, it was supposed to be an hour and a half. It was about 3 hours of training. And he starts it off, he has this guru that starts us off with exercises, and then of course in the middle, Tony gets you up, or, even if you're in your seat, to keep you stimulated, to keep your energy high. So you change your mind and body together, and anything can happen. Higher energy. And he talked about the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we were all affected in some way. And we suffered a loss. A lot of people suffered a loss. And he talked about the 5 patterns of loss. And I'm just going to share them with you, again, because I'm sharing my notes. These are the notes that I took, and I thought, for me, that these may resonate with you. I mean, he talked about business and entrepreneurship and all that. I won't share that, but I thought these may be helpful. So the 5 patterns of loss is shock, and as it relates to the pandemic. A lot of us were in shock. We were shut in, and things shut down. Some of us became angry or frustrated. And think about it, you can't stay angry or frustrated all the time. Some folks dropped into sadness and depression, start bargaining with God. God, if you help me get through this pandemic, I'll change, I'll do this. And then eventually we got to the point where we accepted it. This is it. This is it. He said most achievers are not into acceptance, we're into making it happen. There's a point of acceptance, we deal with it, and once you accept it, what happens is time to create. So for some of us, for some people, we accepted it, but we said, okay, now it is what it is, but it's time to continue on. Let's make something happen. And remember, when we talked about the 3 patterns, that pattern recognition, pattern utilization, and pattern creation. You become the creator of your life. So we accepted it, but now we're going to start creating life going forward, however we want it to be. And he said, in order to be the creator, you have to have a big breakthrough. It's a moment in time. With that moment in time, you said, okay, it is what it is, but I'm going to make this change. There's a moment in time when you have a breakthrough. It usually comes often when it's pain. Something you want to change, and one day you hit a threshold and changed something, and you never went back. A moment in time, it became a must. Suddenly what was impossible, you made it happen. You broke free. Complexity is the enemy of execution, though. So don't make things so complex. Because when they are, and you know for yourself, you don't follow through. So if you think of a breakthrough in your life, finally one day you change something. What happened? What area of your life had you been struggling with? And then all of a sudden, one day you changed it. What made you stop at that moment? What happened at that moment where you said enough is enough? Or even if you think of the pandemic, if you were one of these people that you were bargaining with God, or you were frustrated, or you just had a hard time dealing with it, what happened when you made that change? It. Some people started exercising more, right? Some people started exercising more. What happened? If you think about a time in your life when you said enough is enough, what happened? What made that moment? What was it that triggered it, that you finally said enough is enough? And how many of you, if you think about it, you hit that threshold because of pain? It was causing you some type of pain. In that pain, you got to that level where that pain pushed you over the edge and you had a breakthrough. Think about it. It might have been something real small, but it pushed you over the edge and you had a breakthrough. Little things can change people. But what makes it possible is our beliefs. Because we believe what we believe, what we believe. And then maybe one day you had a change in beliefs. And this is what was so powerful for me this week. And I already know this, but I heard it this week. Maybe because I was listening this week. Because there are a couple of areas in my life, every time I mention them, you know what I say? I've always had difficulties in this area or in these areas. And these areas are important to me. And I say it all the time. And I found myself saying it this week. And what I realized, every time I said that I have difficulties in these two areas, number one, my energy's low. I always have difficulty in these two areas. And it's like I'm pushing against the wind. So I'm going into this thinking that it's difficult, and I'm performing like it's difficult. And I'm pushing against the wind. And the more I push against the wind, the more difficult it becomes, because I'm telling myself it's difficult. And then I was like, Eva, you're having difficulties because you're telling yourself it's difficult. So I started shouting. And seriously, I was walking down the street the other day. Okay. Is my connection okay? I just got something saying that my connection's not good. But I found myself walking down the street the other day, and the area that I was saying I was having difficulty in, now all of a sudden I'm exploding in this area, and I'm powerful, and it's easy. I got it. And I'm walking down the street and I'm singing and I'm dancing and I'm like, ooh, it is no longer difficult. And now when I talk about these two areas, my energy level is higher and I'm no longer pushing against the wind. Because for the longest I've been saying I'm having difficulty in these two areas, and that's the story I had been telling myself, and that's what was showing up in my life. It's something really simple, but it's been so powerful. So if you want to change, you have to change your energy, right? And the second thing is the story you've been telling yourself. The story keeps us blind. The story can keep us powerless. In those two areas, I was powerless. Example, Whatever we tell ourselves, that's what shows up in our lives. So if you're saying, I can't lose weight, guess what? You can't lose weight. That's the story a lot of us tell ourselves. I've tried everything. But if you're telling yourself that, you can't lose weight. And chances are, when you're telling yourself this, think about this. I just want you to think about this week. Whatever area you may be struggling with, what is the story you're telling yourself, and notice your energy level. Same thing with good, a lot of women are looking to be in a relationship, but you know what we're telling ourselves? All the good ones are taken. No good men are out there. I've done that. And guess what? Whatever story you tell yourself, that's what's going to show up in your life. Because our expectation determines what we notice. Our expectation determines what we attract. Whatever story, then the story blinds us. When the story is in our head, for me, these two areas, I have difficulty in. That's how I was performing. I was performing at a level of difficulty because in my mind, I'm telling myself it's not better. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went on. And it clicked. I'm not having difficulty in these areas. I've been rejoicing all week. I'm so excited, can't you tell? And we find whatever we're looking for. So once we have a story in our mind, that's the story we see. And we keep telling ourselves the same story over and over. Remember, seeking you shall find. So if that's whatever story you're telling yourself, if you're saying it's difficult, which I was doing, if you're saying it's hard, I'm never going to find the right person, I'm never going to lose weight, and I've tried everything. That's what we say. I've tried every diet, I've tried everything. Same thing, I've been on the apps looking for people, had people introduce me. You seek, you find whatever you're seeking. So to have a breakthrough, change your state, raise your level of energy, change your story, you change your life. And I love this one, so I wrote this down. Divorce the story of your limitations and marry the truth of your unlimited nature. But I wrote all of this down because these are my notes. And I'm going to repeat that one. I highlighted that one. Divorce the story of your limitations and marry the truth of your unlimited nature. And he said, the story is like the glue that keeps you together. If you got an empowering story, it'll keep you going, even though the things around you are driving you crazy or seem impossible. You will find answers. State of mind, change your story, and the strategy is last. So it's like, what do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Then you create the strategy. And he said most people focus on finding the strategy first. And they ask the question, how do I change this? But he said that's the worst strategy. You get caught up in the tyranny of how. And my thing is, you focus on what you want and why you want to stay connected to your why. That's your story. Don't worry about the how. You build the strategy and the steps, even though you can't see how it's going to happen, you keep working it. But you have to know what you want first and why you want it, because the first one that will say the why will keep you inspired and engaged. So if you're working a strategy and you don't know why you're working it, chances are you're not going to be diligent about it, because there's no attachment there. If you don't know the why you're doing it, then why there's no attachment. So he called it the 3 S's of a breakthrough. State of mind, that's the energy. The story, change your story, you change your life. And the strategy is last. And 5 things for success. I'm going to share that with you as well. Again, I took a lot of notes, and I couldn't wait to share them with you today. 5 things for success. And some of you may have even participated in the training, because I did see folks on there from Chicago. Like the way he had to set up, you could join the training via Facebook or YouTube. I joined via Facebook. Like 20,000 people are on this. And he even profiled one of the guys from Chicago. But for me, the training was empowering. So 5 things for success. Now, if you participated in the training, these are my notes. This is what I heard. So I'm sharing with you. You may have heard something else, but this is what I'm sharing, what I heard, what resonated with me, what I heard. So feed your mind. 5 things for success. Feed your mind. Stand guard at the door of your mind. And he just talked about his own personal experience, how he read 700 books in 1 year, but he said feed your mind. You can listen to tapes or in your car, you can read, whatever, but feed your mind. Stand at guard at the door of your mind. And this, so you can remain positive and fuel your mind. Number 1. Number 2 is push and condition your body. When you train yourself physically, it affects you emotionally. And you know that. Think about this. Whatever exercise you use, even if it's dancing, think about how good you feel after you've done it, because you have to push. You have to push some time to complete it. And that pushing takes you past that comfort zone. When you go past that comfort zone, then your mind opens up all kinds of possibilities. So when you train yourself physically, it affects you emotionally. And overcome fear by making courage a habit. Overcome fear by making courage a habit. So every day for 5 to 10 minutes, make it a habit to push yourself. Even if you don't feel like it. Even if you have to if you work from home and you're sitting at a desk, push yourself. Get up and do 5 to 10 minutes of jumping jacks if you need me. Get that energy flow. Get your mind and body, the energy level high. He said do cold plunges. Now, that's what he does, cold plunges. I do know people that take a cold shower. So if you need me, take a cold shower. Develop the habit of pushing your body, and that will expand. Because in order to grow, you have to expand, right? And whatever you decide to do for that 5-10 minutes every day, there's no negotiating with yourself. When you say go, you go. Body and mind, when I say go, we go. That's push and condition yourself was number 3. Number 4, think of what you want and find role models. Whatever you want, he said, it's an idea in your head until you see someone else that's done it. Then your brain says, I can do it too. It's the pathway to power. Find a peer group, so much easier when you're not alone, and give more than you expect to receive. Make this your habit. When you just take things, it teaches your brain to stay in survival mode. When you give to someone worse off than you, you get 2 things. You remember how great your life really is, and it gives your life a sense of meaning. So make this your habit. When you just take things, it teaches your brain to stay in survival. So make it a habit to give more than you expect to receive. And when you give to someone worse off than you, could be your time, money, love, whatever. But 2 things happen. You remember how great your life really is, and it gives your life a sense of meaning. And one of the things that he said too is keep in mind the biggest problem people have is they think they're not supposed to have problems. Problems are a sign of life. So I'm going to repeat those 5 things. 5 things for success. Feed your mind daily. Push and condition your body. Think of what you want and find role models. Find a peer group and give more than you expect to receive. So those are the notes that I wanted to share with you this morning. Again, the biggest ha-ha for me, and I'm so excited, is that the 2 areas I've been telling myself I'm having difficulty in, that's been my story, and that's what's been showing up. I've changed my story. And it's funny because now when I talk about those 2 areas, my energy is even higher. So be conscious of your level of energy. Recognize the three patterns: pattern recognition, utilization, creation. Manage your energy. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Be aware of your energy. So if you're operating at a 2 or 3, chances are you're not going to make changes in your life. So raise your energy. And remember, you're the creator of your own life. You are the creator of your own life. And you know me. I'm a strong believer. I believe this with every part of my being. You have the power to create and live the life you desire. You create your own reality. State of mind, that's the energy. Change your story, that's number 2, your story. You change your story, you change your life. And 3, strategy. So you have the power this morning. I hope you found my notes. I'm going to try to see. MM said, please repeat that quote. There were a few. I think you mean this one. This is the one. Let's see, which one is it? Divorce the story of your limitations and marry the truth of your unlimited source. MM, give me the thumbs up if that's the one you want. You wanted me to repeat. I'm just looking at the notes. Our expectations determine what we notice. That's true. Because if you're only, and he used the example, you walk in a room, and if you're only looking for red, you're only going to see red. Yes. Acceptance is critical. Crystal Turner said, I really can relate to wanting to date someone at a level 5. That analogy is helpful. Yeah, you're right. But that's the other thing too, though. Surround yourself with high energy people. Because we are a product of who we surround ourselves with. Remember, there's a saying, if you want to know what your life is going to look like in 5 years, look at who you're surrounding yourself with. So that was the quote. I'll repeat it again. Divorce the story of your limitations and marry the truth of your unlimited nature. And I can put this in the box. I just have to give credit to Tony Robbins because, again, these are notes that I took. And I'll look through my other notes because I took about 15 pages of notes. I thought these would be helpful this morning, but I'll look through and see if there are other notes. Again, some of them was business related, entrepreneur related, but I'll look through them. If there's other notes that I have that I think you may find helpful, then I'll share them. But I found this extremely helpful, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. A lot of it, again, may not be anything new, but it could be the message, the way he told or the way he relayed his message. It resonated with me again because I was on the receiving end, I guess, and I'm just sitting here listening. But it definitely changed 2 areas of my life. I'm pretty high energy anyway, but it's going to make me even more conscious of my energy level. And when my energy is low, knowing that at that particular time, I probably can't create anything when my energy is low because you just don't have the energy to do it. So I just thought it was powerful. So with that being said, I want to go back to what I said initially. Not in the studio, the radio studio. I was pushing against my spirit. It just wasn't resonating with me at this time. It doesn't mean I won't go back, but I pulled the plug on it because it wasn't resonating with me at this time. But what I also learned is the fact that I want to be more impactful. I want to reach and help more women, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to have a different platform. Maybe I could do it just in this group. And what I thought I may do, and you can give me a thumbs up now if you think it may be helpful or something that you may be interested in. And that is, Pam said 15 pages of note, your energy was high. But that's how I listen, by taking notes. That's how I learn, by taking notes. One of the things I've been thinking about doing, and you can give me a thumbs up right now for the ladies that are on, maybe once a month, have some type of a support group. Say, for instance, we can pick a day, it could be the 4th Monday of every month, or whatever date it may be, but not in this group. It would have to be where we could share the link. We could do it on another platform. May it be, I haven't done live stream or Zoom or whatever, where we go in once a month and we can be interactive. And we could set it up in such a way, we can just start off right here where we're leaving off. You know, what's the old story you've been telling yourself? What's your new story? That's the other thing. Tony did give us assignments at the end of each training class. So we can just start off right there. What areas of support do you need? So do you think that may be something that's helpful? Are you interested at all? You can give me a thumbs up. And if you think this is fine too. I'm just thinking of ways that we could be more helpful and supportive of each other. So I don't see any thumbs up. I don't see anything. Did I get a thumbs up? Do you think it would be a good idea? Have you stopped listening to me? Tell me. Maybe I'll just do a poll too and put it in the group. But I'm trying to think of ways to where we can be more supportive of each other. So I kept you a little longer this morning. Okay, Pam gave me thank you, Pam, for giving me some thumbs up. I appreciate that. But I'm just looking to see how we can be more, because that's the whole purpose of this. You know, how we can help and be more encouraging and supportive of each other. That's it. You know, and if there's more than I can do or we can do together in this group, then I'm fulfilling my purpose of serving and helping others without trying to go to another platform, but maybe being more in tune to this particular platform, this one in Instagram. So that's what I'm thinking about doing, and I'll continue to think about it and talk about it more next week. So that's it. You have the power to create and live the life you desire. You have the power to create your own reality. Remember, patterns, patterns, patterns. If you're like me, you're going to go through this week, you're going to be thinking about things that you're telling yourself, especially the things that you're telling yourself and you're placing limitations on yourself, which is what I was doing. You're going to think about it. And then as you think about it, you will realize how low your energy is. And then, because I was pushing against that wind, and when I change that pattern, that habit, those words I was telling myself, my energy changed. That's you have the power this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Give us some thought this week. I would love to hear from you. You can send me a direct message. You can post in the group or chat next week. I'd be interested in hearing if you thought about any of your patterns this week. And especially the stories you've been telling yourself, placing limitations on yourself, and how you're going to change that going forward. That is you have the power. Thank you so much for getting up and joining me. I truly appreciate you. Love and blessings to you and your family. I hope you found my notes helpful. I will see you back here from my kitchen counter next week. Have a great week. Thank you. Bye.